more pages here, over to page 27. And this I find to be a common theme, not just dealing with American Indians, but dealing with most non-white cultures. And again, let me qualify that by saying what I'm getting at here is not white bashing. It just seems to be the way that it is. The last couple of lines of that first paragraph on 27. Exhibits of primitive technology such as weapons and tools highlighted the white nation's achievements by showing how far civilization had evolved in relation to less developed, usually a synonym for non-white people's civilizations and still living ancestors. That same page, a few more lines down in that next paragraph. And here's one that I find actually quite dominant today when I go to museums, when I go to non-native specific museums. Now there are some museums that are tribally specific, owned and operated by the tribes that show many other things. And on our field trip we will visit one such museum. But these are museums that are generally Western culture museums that show these things, highlight these types of artifacts in their contact and context of American Indians. Weapons, in fact, outnumbered all other native objects exhibited. Their dominance likely aimed to demonstrate the savagery of their makers. I guarantee you, if you go to a Western civilization type museum where they show, like frontier type museum, most of the displays that you will see of Indians will be weaponry of some sort. And they're generally displayed, and I've seen this with my own two eyes, they're generally displayed as weapons of war, not necessarily tools for survival. Many of the things that we see as weapons, that are listed as weapons, were actually tools of survival. They had to hunt their food. But they're displayed as weaponry. One that I saw at a museum in Louisiana, it's, you know what an atlatl is? An atlatl. It's okay, like for throwing a spear or a lance. If you fling it with your bare hand, it goes quite a distance. But an atlatl is, let's see if I can get a crude rendition up on the board here, as soon as I can find the marker. Is there one out? I've got one, I swear. There it is. An atlatl is a device with a hook, like so, used for the spear. The butt end of the spear would be right there. And it would be thrown like so. You hold on to the atlatl like thus, and hook this finger over the spear, keeping it in place, and use the atlatl to increase the velocity of the throw. Sometimes almost tripling the distance that a bare hand can throw it. And those were big game. I mean, those were used to bring down big game. And you'll see some of the small game that would be like a blow gun, a cane with a blow dart in it for small game, rabbits, squirrels, things like that. But this is a big game hunting device. And up close, those spears could penetrate quite deeply into a buffalo or other big animal, or over even long distances with accuracy. And those hunters could be quite accurate with it. But in some of the displays that I saw in this museum in Louisiana, showed this as like a. If you think back to the old European society where you had these lancers, where they would throw the lances at great distances to annihilate approaching armies. If you think of the warfare of Europe back in the old days, the days of knighthood and things like that, how were wars fought? Very up close and personal, yeah. And it was generally, you'd have rank after rank, your rank and file, and basically the last man standing won. all this order, you stand and just catch the arrows and lances and whatever else they'd throw at you, and if you fell over dead, okay, well, the next rank came up, and it was very, very orderly.
And in the open.
And out, exactly, out in the open. Very orderly and very out in the open. And the Western mindset thought, okay, we use our lances to throw, some distance to kill our enemy. Therefore, this must be an enemy killer. Not necessarily. This is a tool. This is a hammer to a carpenter. This is a wrench to a mechanic. This is a hunting device to a hunter.